One February morning, I was startled awake by a strange sound coming from my kids' room. My husband Ricardo runs into the room with our 3-year-old son Marco. "Maria, look at him." And I looked. Marco was all stiff and he couldn't breathe. "Honey, it's just a dream." But he wouldn't respond. As Ricardo laid him down and started performing mouth to mouth, time stood still for me. And I went to a really dark place. A parent's worst nightmare. Because I started imagining myself at Marco's funeral, not knowing how I would be able to go on without my baby boy. But I was startled out of that, and I yelled at my daughter Lorena, "Get your shoes on!" And we jumped in the car and rushed to the hospital. Marco was now breathing, but he still wouldn't wake up. And in my mind, I'm thinking, maybe he had some kind of weird nightmare trauma that's left him in a permanent coma. Well, my diagnosis was a little off. Actually, it was way off. Turns out Marco had idiopathic epilepsy, which is a fancy word doctors use to say they don't know why a healthy 3-year-old just starts having seizures out of the blue. So here we were, trying to adjust to this new normal, when a few weeks later, I find out I'm pregnant. Whew. Oh boy. But as time goes by, I start getting excited about welcoming a 3rd child into our family. And as December rolls around and we're getting into the festivities, the week of my due date, my son Max is stillborn. I was crushed because turns out that image I had of myself crying bitterly at my son's memorial came true. It was just the wrong kid. All of this was a little too much for our marriage. And within less than 2 years, Ricardo and I were divorced. So time goes by and here I am, single mom, dealing with a kid with special needs. And Marco became a guinea pig for all kinds of medications with all kinds of results. Some of them would cause him to drool and be zombie-like. Others would give him psychotic episodes with hallucinations. Others would make him vomit. And now we were dealing with behavioral issues at school. So imagine seeing your kid have 2 seizures every day that could result in broken ribs, broken teeth, a bloody head. Imagine being at a restaurant, having a nice meal, when all of a sudden, he smashes into his plate, falls on the floor, and takes the whole tablecloth with him, but not in that cool magician sort of way. As he falls on the floor, you hold him while at the same time trying to calm the patrons and apologizing for the inconvenience. Now, I wish I could say I was handling this all in a graceful way, but I wasn't. You see, I was so angry. I was angry at God. I was angry at the universe for having given me so many challenges in such a short period of time. I actually took up karate to channel my anger, and it felt good to punch and kick those dummies and yell, "Kiai!" But somehow the anger always seemed to seep through. And here's another thing. Have any of you ever noticed how many incompetent drivers there are out there? And for some reason, they would all follow me. I would have to deal with one of them every single day. Once, I was driving in Mexico City, and as I was merging into a highway, a black SUV comes behind me and speeds across and cuts me off. And I had to brake hard to avoid hitting him. Oh man, you bleepity bleep. And there were lots of bleeps, but I'll spare you. My blood's boiling, and I'm not taking this sitting down. So I floor it, and I cut the guy off. Ha! But my satisfaction was short-lived because the guy sped up and cut me off a second time and stops his car right in front of me. Now I'm scared and angry, but I'm strangely pumped because I'm ready for this, and that black belt is gonna come in pretty handy. I jump out of my car, and I'm ready for the fight. As I see him get out of his car, we make eye contact. And I see something that shocks me. I see his bitter face, and I see my face reflected right back at me. He's ready for a fight too. He's angry at life. Maybe he's lost somebody. And he's ready for that fight, but as soon as he sees me, darn, I'm a woman. He doesn't want it that way. Senora, you cut in front of me. And the courtesy sounds a little strange considering what we've just been through. Yes, senor. How's it feel? And he walks away. And that's that. I'm still standing there, trembling. I'm so exhausted. And I realize that I am addicted to anger. I'm addicted to that rush of adrenaline that gives me the illusion of strength in a world where I felt small, where I felt weak and terribly wronged. But I've hit rock bottom, and now I'm putting myself in danger. And my kids deserve better. Heck, I deserve better. And I've got to cut this addiction cold turkey. When I tell a friend of mine what happened, she's like, Maria, that guy was an angel. What? Yeah, he came to give you a message. An angel? Maybe more like a ghost from a Dickens novel. But like Scrooge, I had my moment of reckoning. I saw through this angry angel's face, I saw where I was, and I saw the things to come. And it didn't really bode very well for me. So then and there, I decided things had to change. And I did change a bunch of things. First thing, I slowed down all of my reactions. I slowed down. I became mindful of my feelings every moment. I started breathing deeply. I retired from karate and took up yoga. And the first time I did the child's pose, I cried. It was a moment of surrender that touched me deeply. And when I interacted with people, I imagined them as little children, and that would soften my approach. I also noticed that my interaction with my son Marco was more patient. And strangely, his seizures started decreasing. Strange coincidence? I think not. Today, Marco is a thriving young man who has 2 jobs and is sociable and easygoing, and I'm so proud of him. And talking of proud, guess who is now an interpersonal intelligence coach? Go figure. And all those incompetent drivers, they're not following me anymore. They might be following somebody else. So here's the thing. Marco might have been the one with the diagnosis, but I was the one who needed the healing. I had to let go of all of those toxic emotions that were holding me back. I finally was able to be free. Not only were they holding me back, they were holding maybe even my son back, right? So as I stand here in front of you today, please indulge me with a reflection. Are there any emotions that you may be addicted to? And are any of those emotions holding you back? And lastly, if there were an angel who came to give you a message, what message would that be? And would you be open to listen?